There's a lot of talk going on right now about American politics. As we all know, well, most of us know, Donald Trump was just elected President of the United States, with Kamala Harris coming in a close second. While there's a lot of political discourse in America and a lot of political strife, our neighbors up top to the north are also having their own political elections. Mark Carney was just replaced Justin Trudeau as the Labour Party's leader with 86% of the vote, according to CBS News. Now, Mark Carney is in a lot of ways similar to Trump. He, like Trump, is not a political insider. He's not a politician. In fact, he's never held an elected office. Instead, he's a banker and he's an economist. But Carney differs from Trump in a lot of ways, and so hopefully his priorities are going to be different as well. Now, when I was asked the question, what should Prime Minister Mark Carney's top priorities be, I gave you three answers. Number one should be on the trade war with America. Number two should be on climate change, particularly affecting Canada's northern parts. And number three, it should be on the healthcare system strain. Now, hopefully Mark Carney will have a lot more to do in his time as Prime Minister than just those three issues. But when I was asked what his top priorities are, those struck out as the top three. Now, Trump was just elected, and so was Mark Carney. And Trump has been busy just as much. Trump has instituted tariffs on Canada that have skyrocketed both American and Canadian prices. Now, these tariffs are not out of the blue. On the campaign trail, Donald Trump said that he was going to impose tariffs on Canada. Now, his reasoning was the illegal fentanyl trade, according to AP News of 4 months ago. Illegal fentanyl trade from Canada, even though that makes up only 0.02% of fentanyl coming into the United States. However, Trump just recently, last month, imposed these tariffs. And Trump said, according to AP News in the same article from 2 weeks ago, said that the tariffs could only go up and he wasn't lowering them. Now, Mark Carney is not adverse to economic problems. When he was the head of the Bank of Canada, he faced many crises, according to the Atlantic Council organization of just yesterday. Mark Carney faced crises in the healthcare system. He faced crises in the housing system. So Mark Carney is not at risk or prepared. He is very prepared to deal with these tariffs and this potential trade war with America, Canada's neighbors to the south. Now, when asked, Mark Carney, according to the Atlantic Council organization, said that he plans to use America's dependence on Canadian energy as a way to leverage in this trade war. While America might have a larger economy than Canada, Canada has energy, and the U.S. always needs energy. In fact, according to Forbes, Canada supplies the northern half of America with 27% of all energy coming from renewable Canadian sources and Canadian coal. Now, when asked, Mark Carney said that he's going to use these resources to leverage against America. While Trump is a stubborn guy, as we can all tell, Carney can also be stubborn. He's replacing Trudeau, and he's been seen as an outsider. With this outside knowledge, people hope that he will do things that aren't very politically savvy. He will stick to his guns in order to help Canada. And if this happens, Mark Carney can possibly prevent a trade war with Canada that would hurt both America and Canadian interests. Now, that isn't the only priority that Mark Carney should be focusing on, although it's a large one. The climate change is affecting Canada in a unique way. According to CBC, in July of 2024, climate change is melting sea ice up in Canada by up to 40% of icebergs per year. Now, this is opening up a lot of shipping routes for Canada. And according to the Atlantic Council organization of just yesterday, once again, this gives Canada a unique opportunity, and especially Mark Carney, a unique opportunity to invest in these shipping routes. While climate change is always a bad thing, this is Canada's chance to capitalize on these new trade routes and shipping routes that are opening. The northern part of Canada is wildly uninhabited and also uninvested in. And if Mark Carney uses his economic knowledge and political savvy, he can invest in Canada's northern part and open up shipping routes that can help Canada prosper as a nation. Now, if Mark Carney does this, he can help Canada's housing market. With the money inflow from shipping in Canada, he can also help with the trade war as well by decreasing the Canadian reliance on American goods by opening up shipping routes with places in the northern part of the hemisphere, like Europe and Russia. So if Mark Carney opens these things up, he can help Canada prosper. Now, the third thing that Mark Carney should focus on as Prime Minister for the Labour Party is the healthcare crisis. According to the National Institute of Health from last year, 2024, Canada's healthcare crisis or healthcare system has immense strain and it is in an official crisis. While Canada does have universal healthcare and free healthcare that's included with taxes, Canada's healthcare system is under a massive strain. The COVID-19 pandemic has hurt the Canadian healthcare providers, and only 26% of Canadian families say that they don't have a primary, according to the National Institute of Health from last year, 26% of Canadian families do not have a primary care physician or do not go to a primary care physician regularly. This is because the lines are too long and the healthcare is under immense strain. People aren't getting the adequate healthcare they deserve and they need. With Mark Carney's savvy in economics and also in healthcare, when he worked for to operate a hospital, he can hopefully use his savvy to help institute changes in the healthcare system. It can help alleviate the strain that was placed on the system by COVID-19, and he can help bring Canada into a new age of prosperity. Once again, I said Mark Carney is a very popular candidate. He got 86% of the Labour Party's votes in an election that was tied heavily to Ukraine. So Mark Carney has a lot of hope of Canadian people, and hopefully he has the support of the Canadian government behind him. As Prime Minister, people hope that 1, he will decrease the trade war and almost decrease the risk of a trade war with America. 2, he will capitalize on shipping routes being opened by climate change. And 3, that he will decrease the strain on the Canadian healthcare system and overall lead Canada to a proper age of prosperity. Can Mark Carney do it? Time will tell. Thank you.